dancing at the red. Moonshine and campfires, dancing to the dead. Hair strands and warm hands stuck in the backseat. Heartbeats and ecstasy.
Well, my name is Ben Andrews and I'm 41 and I grew up in Santa Barbara, California. I've always loved fishing and surfing basically since I was about 11 years old. I got into surfing and that led to fishing, and then ever since I've kind of been hooked on just being around the water, mostly in the ocean. So it's been about 13 years I've been in this area, and I've stayed here because it's one of the few year-round viable commercial fishing ports that we have here in California.
Throw it down, look away, don't be scared, it's okay.
So I started working at Miramar Surf Shop in the early 80s. And then I started a few failed attempts at other surf shops, and then started the board shop, and now the store's been here for 21 years.
I was born in Hawaii, and then we moved to the Bay Area in the 70s, and so I had a boogie board, I had a wetsuit, had a beat up surfboard, and my mom would drive me over, and I used to go right to the jetty, Princeton Jetty, we call it the breakwater, and she'd pull up, and used to be able to park on the ocean side, so she would pull up and I'd jump out and try not to get in anybody's way, try to catch some waves, and then she'd wave me in when it was time, come on in, you know. And I was probably probably right around lower school days, so I was probably 12.
I was born in Denver, 1971, moved to El Granada, literally in a neighborhood right across the street where those houses are, in 1974. Love having this as my home base, really felt at home with this local community. Got into music, and through getting into music and doing music shows, not only playing and singing in my own bands, but promoting shows as well. Did a lot of shows at this establishment here, and this was relatively just a bar, and the restaurant was always separate. And then when they wanted to sell the business, I'd done such successful shows here, the owners of this place said, you should have it because you've been the one that's really brought the most people here and promoted it on this other level. So that kind of led me into purchasing it with my dad and my brother, and we kept doing that. But then we took over the restaurant as well, and we combined it all into one big public house, and that's sort of where we're at today.
My parents moved to Half Moon Bay in 1966. They would always come to the beach on the weekends. My dad had 7 brothers and sisters, and my grandfather was an avid fisherman. And he fished so much that we ended up moving over to the beach here in Miramar. And so I grew up right on the beach in Miramar, and every morning before school, I'm sitting eating at the breakfast bar and watching the ocean. So I would get my dad to bring this surfboard over to the beach, and I would ride these little tiny waves. I'd paddle out against the whitewater as far as I could, and then turn around and catch the whitewater and stand up on this board, and the whitewater disappear, and then it'd turn into just this little green water, and then just ride it and run up the beach.
Growing up here, when I was 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, all the way to 12 years old and in high school, this place was such an exciting, it was all about extreme sports, and these hills right behind you, that's called flat track up there. That was motorcycles all day on the weekends, and guys were out there surfing the coast, and people are riding horses, and you had girls in 4-H raising horses and goats and pigs, and it was such an active sort of country, almost blue collar community. It was a really fun place.
So this area is sort of a hidden little gem where San Francisco is amazing, but the geography, the landscape is obviously really urban. And down here, it's wide open. I mean, we hear the seals at night. There's an owl that lives somewhere close by. I hear the owl at night. There's, in those eucalyptus trees there's 2 hawks that are like our resident hawks. We can see the stars at night when it's clear. The full moon wakes me up because it's so bright, you know, so it's a really, in terms of a hidden gem, I think geographically it's beautiful. Lots of open space. We have mountains right there, the ocean's right there. It's so far removed from the hustle and bustle of Silicon Valley or the city, San Francisco. It's a lot, really quiet. It has that small town feel. El Granada, our town, is 2,000 residents. I think population of Half Moon Bay is 13,000. So the whole coast and this whole region's maybe 18,000 people. So that's to me, the pace is a lot slower. It's not pretentious. It's not very competitive in terms of having nice things or making a ton of money. So kind of spoke to us.
It's probably one of the most beautiful places to live. You know, you're centrally located. You got Santa Cruz down south, and then the Bay Area. You can always run up to the city, and then, you know, if you don't want to deal with any of that, you're just right smack dab in the middle of paradise here, really. So
Appreciating what we have here and the resources, whether it be fresh artichokes that you can see in the camera behind me, or the fishing we just talked about, how fun the surf is, how neat Santa Cruz is, how much I enjoy San Francisco, and the people in general. I think that's kind of what really made me want to stay here. And even though I love to travel, and I like to travel all over the world, and I was doing a lot of that back when I got out of college, I think that the flavor and the friendships and this community is kind of what made me really want to, like, not only just live here and be here, but also get involved in the community. I do work with the local fishermen because I'm the only restaurant on the coast that sells local fish. No one else has any idea where their fish is coming from, even though they say they're getting local fish, they're not. And that's a really frustrating thing for me. So what I do in my connection with the boat captains is, aside from growing up with them, I walk down to the dock and I get the catch of the day and I cut it, like, right there. He's cutting the Charlie Sole caught on the Mr. Morgan today. And I'm the only place that does that, probably in the Bay Area. Everyone else just lies about it, and I think it's disgusting.